So we are going to cover the topic. First of all, it is related to the external commercial borrowing. So ECB is basically a loan availed by an Indian entity from a non-resident lender. So let us take the case that person A or company A is over here, and further it has availed a credit facility from a lender overseas, from a person overseas, from a lender overseas, from a commercial banks or the other institutions overseas, and further these particular institutions will be lending to this particular bank for a period of 3 years or more. For a period of 3 years or more, if the loan amount is extended, for a period of 3 years or more, in that particular case it is basically categorized as external commercial borrowing. So if a loan is availed from a non-resident lenders with a minimum average maturity period of 3 years and above, it is categorized as ECB, that is external commercial borrowing. Okay, so MAMP, it is the minimum average maturity period, it is mentioned, and it can be written as MAMP. So if MAMP is 3 years or above, in that particular case it is categorized as ECB. And ECBs would include medium and long term loans as permitted by the Reserve Bank of India and the Government of India, because each and everything related to the foreign exchange trade would be basically categorized and would be basically undertaken is under the control of the Reserve Bank of India itself. And further, ECBs have been permitted by the Government of India as a source of finance for fresh investments. So if you want to do the fresh investments or for the expansion of the existing facilities, you can take ECB. You can basically take ECB, which are permitted by the Government of India. And buyers credit and suppliers credit for 3 years and above are also categorized as the ECB. We have already covered that if the usance period is up to 6 months, then it is said to be what? It is said to be the usance bills have been drawn. And further, if it is above 6 months and up to 3 years, is lesser than 3 years, greater than 6 months, but lesser than 3 years, in that particular case it is termed as trade credit, which is given. And further, it could be the buyer's credit or it could be the supplier credit. But if the term of the credit under the buyer's credit or supplier credit is greater than or equal to 3 years, then in that case it is also categorized as the ECB. Okay, and further, ECBs availed by the residents are governed under the section 6 of the FEMA Act 1999. So a special section is over there which is basically related to the ECB, and it is section 6 of the FEMA. Okay, so ECB can be raised either by the automatic route or by the approval route. So there are two routes related to it, from where a resident in India, where a company in India, incorporated in India, can basically undertake a credit facility from overseas bank, commercial bank, or the commercial institutions. And there are two routes. Those routes are automatic route and the approval route. So first of all, it is related to the approval route, where the prospective borrowers are required to send their request to the Reserve Bank of India through their AED banks for examination. So in this particular case, if you want to avail the ECB facility, first of all you have to take the approval, and that approval application will be sent through the authorized dealer to the Reserve Bank of India for the examination. And only upon the approval from the Reserve Bank of India, you can undertake that facility from the lender overseas. And in automatic route, you need not to basically propose an application or send an application through your authorized dealer to the Reserve Bank of India. Okay, in automatic route, the application is only examined by the authorized dealer category 1 banks. Okay, so authorized dealer category 1 banks just examines it, and further the approval is given, and that is basically related to the automatic route. Okay, so the approval of Reserve Bank of India is not required in that particular case. Then it is related to the ECB, that is external commercial borrowing. So let us consider the facts related to it. So it may be the case that the ECB is denominated in foreign currency. It may be the case that the ECB is denominated in Indian rupee. Where the currency is foreign currency, it can be availed under any of the convertible foreign currency. It can be availed in any of the freely convertible foreign currency. And further, where it is denominated in Indian rupee, the The currency it will be sanctioned would be in Indian rupee only. Okay, and further, forms of ECB loans include the bank loans, floating fixed rate notes, bonds, debentures. So it can be under the different forms. It can be under the trade credits above beyond 3 years or above. It can be in the case of the foreign currency convertible bonds, it can be the foreign currency bond itself or the financial lease itself. So there are different forms it can be availed in. It is not the case that is it will be only and only available in the case of the foreign currency itself. It can be under the eligible securities also, eligible bonds also, and same is the case with if it is basically availed under the Indian denominated currency. Okay, and further it is related to eligible borrowers who are eligible. So all entities who are eligible so as to receive the foreign direct investment, who are further eligible to receive the foreign direct investments, those are eligible to avail the foreign currency denominated ECB. And other than that, port trust, units in special economic zones, SIDBI, Exim Bank of India, these are also eligible borrowers. And in the case the ECB is to be availed in Indian denomination, in that case all the entities eligible to raise foreign currency ECB are eligible, and also the registered entities engaged in the microfinance activities would be eligible so as to avail the ECB denominated in Indian currency. Okay, so in the case of the ECB to be availed under the Indian currency, the registered entities engaged in microfinance activities are not covered, otherwise that those are covered if the ECB is to be availed in the Indian denomination. Is that clear? And then it is related to the recognized lenders. The lender should be resident of FATF, that is Financial Action Task Force, or IOSCO compliant country. So these are basically two commissions we can say. So one, it is a Financial Action Task Force compliant country or the IOSCO compliant country. IOSCO is International Organization of Securities Commission. Okay, so if it is compliant country by IOSCO or by FATF, only and only that case we can avail the ECB from that particular country. Okay, so the lender should be resident of the IOSCO or the FATF compliant country. And what is the minimum average maturity period? So MAMP for the ECB will be 3 years. So minimum MAMP for the ECB will be 3 years. And in the case the ECB raised by the manufacturing companies up to USD 50 millions or its equivalent per financial year, its MAMP is 1 year. Only this particular one is the exception in this particular case, where the ECB is raised by the manufacturing companies up to 50 million USDs. In that particular case, the minimum average maturity period is 1 year, and further in all the other cases it is equal to 3 years or greater than 3 years. It is equal to 3 years or greater than 3 years. So you can take a note out of it related to ECB raised from the foreign equity holder or the working capital purposes, general corporate purposes, or for repayment of the rupee loans. It can be for 5 years. Likewise, in the previous years we have seen that many companies have availed the ECBs so as to basically for the repayment of their rupee loans, for the repayment of the rupee loans. On that particular cases, the MAMP would be 5 years. And if ECB is raised for the working capital purposes, or it may be the case that the ECB is raised from the foreign equity holders. So when the ECB is raised from the foreign equity holders for working capital purposes, for general corporate purposes, or for repayment of the rupee loans, that can be up to 5 years. And for the ECB raised for the working capital purposes or general corporate purposes on lending by NBFCs for working capital purposes or general corporate purposes, it can be 10 years. So if it is basically in general, if it is basically specifically raised from the foreign equity holders, MAMP is 5 years. But if it is in general from other bodies, it can be, the MAMP can be up to 10 years. And ECB raised for the repayment of the rupee loan availed domestically for capital expenditure, availed domestically for capital expenditure, it can be up to 7 years. And in case if it is basically for on lending to NBFCs who have been basically on lending for the capital for the capital expenditure basis, it can be up to 7 years. Okay, so you just need to remember the main fact related to that. If it is related to manufacturing companies, up to 50 million USDs, it can be for the MAMP is 1 year, but in the other cases it is greater than it is equal to 3 years or greater than 3 years. Okay, so that is related to it. And further, it is related to the all-in cost ceilings per annum. So the maximum cost, the maximum interest that can be paid, for this particular ECB availed can be benchmark rate plus 450 basis points separate. Okay, so if it is based upon LIBOR, let us take the case if the ECB is based upon LIBOR, then the maximum interest that can be paid over that, it is LIBOR plus 450 BPS. If some person is availing ECB beyond this particular limit, beyond this particular cost, that is not basically allowed. For the other cost, if they are involved, likewise, if there are prepayment cost or penal interest, if there is default or breach of the covenant that you have agreed upon. So you are basically a borrower in India, and further you are going to avail a credit from the lender overseas. So there must be some covenants. So there must be some contract. There must be some agreement. And if you breach that particular contract, in that particular case, if there are some of the penalty is basically charged, in that particular penalty is imposed, in that particular case, whatsoever cost is imposed over and above the interest rate, that should not be more than 2% over and above the contracted rate of interest. So we can take the case if the LIBOR, let us take the case if the LIBOR is 4%. If LIBOR is 4%, the maximum interest that can be charged by the overseas lender, it can be 4% plus 4.5%. So that would be 8.5%. And if there is any kind of the other costs are to be charged, it may be related to the prepayment charges, it may be related to the penal interest, or it may be related to the default or breach of the covenant. In that case, it cannot be 200 basis point over and above the 200 basis points over and above the contracted rate of return. So in that case, it can be maximum up to 10.5%. Are you getting the point? Okay, then it is related to the end uses. So it is related to the negative list. So negative list is that particular list in which ECB proceeds cannot be utilized. For these particular purposes, in the negative list, you cannot utilize the ECB for these particular purposes, which include the real estate activities. You cannot basically invest in capital market. You cannot invest in the equity itself. Okay, so that is basically related to the negative list. And further, it is related to the exchange rate. So change of the currency of the foreign currency ECB into the Indian currency, ECB can be at the exchange rate prevailing on the date of the agreement. So whensoever there was agreement related to the ECB, the exchange rate would be applicable as per that on the agreement date. But in the case of the Indian currency denominated ECB, for conversion into the rupee, the exchange rate shall be rate prevailing on the date of settlement, that when the amount has been received. So if it is Indian currency denominated ECB, in that particular case, the rate prevailing would be on the date that the settlement is there. That particular date, the prevailing rates would be applicable. But in the case of the foreign currency, denominated ECB, the exchange rates that would be prevailing would be as on the date of the agreement for the ECB. Is that clear? Okay, so that is related to different points of the ECB. And further, under the aforesaid framework, all eligible borrowers can raise ECB up to 750 million or equivalent per financial year under the automatic route. Okay, so each and every eligible borrower who is eligible so as to avail the ECB facility, they can do avail ECB up to 750 million USDs or equivalent per financial year under the automatic route. Okay, under the automatic route, this particular amount can be availed by all the eligible borrowers.